All right, so here it is, Sunbelt Rental Burnisher. Propane tank, same one that you could use on your Lavinas, of course. I did buy a new pad. Now this is a little bit different than what I would traditionally use, but this is what he said that he had that's gonna work for what we got. Now, traditionally I would like to try to get a 1500 grit or a 3000 grit, either a hog's hair pad or a dip pad or something like that, but that's that. Now, let's go to the price, because I'll be honest, it kind of shocked me a little bit. So, floor burnisher, you can see it right here. The minimum they're charging is $328, and there's only 1 day rental. Obviously, you can go more than that, but they don't do hour rental or anything like that. So, with the floor burnisher and my pad, my total came to $436. So we're gonna take that and we're gonna divide it by our total square footage, and then kind of determine how long it's gonna take, and that'll kind of give us our cost breakdown. But we're gonna put that on and we're gonna start. We're gonna start it out here. This is where I have it. This is the Endurable with the F1. We burnished it with some pads, but I'm gonna see what this one's gonna do. So we're gonna start with the F1 back here. See that, and then we'll move up to the polishing side. All right, so here you can kind of see on the F1, if we look directly behind the machine, we look in this light. And let's kind of look at this light beam, and we kind of track it over to here where I have not burnished. Now the floor is a little bit dirty by all means, but you can see as I move into where I just buffed up, it got a little bit glossier. And let's kind of follow this path down to where I did. And as I turn around, you'll be able to really kind of see the difference in the shine. Look at this light right here. I've burnished right up in here, and I have not done over here. Watch how it kind of dulls out. There you go. So F1 is not designed to be burnished after a month, 3 months, I guess this has been down. I mean, look at that. It's not hurting anything. It's really smooth, and it's got really good shine. So I'm gonna continue to buff out the F1, do this whole section, probably take me about 10 minutes, and then we'll move on into the polished area. All right, guys, so here is what we've considered our training area. Now, these tables are going to get moved out of the way, but if I back up, you're going to see this section right here, my office, John's office, and we move into the store here is all polished concrete. Total area, about 2,600, about a little over about 3,000 square feet. So stay tuned, and we'll move all this stuff out of the way, but this is the area that we're going to be doing. And the reason for this is, if you get kind of up into here, see in the shadow, in the light spots, you see the shadows. So it just becomes dirty and dull over time. We want a real crisp line where that is. And so anywhere that we have kind of some dirt and some dull spots, we're going to buff those out. So stay tuned for about 2,700 square feet. I hope you guys can hear me. This is a good representation and a pro tip of what can happen when you turn it on and you leave it running. Hard to tell, that thing never stops spinning. So if you're ever going to just let it sit there, make sure you fully kill it. Here's another tip. You go ahead and put it initially down on the ground, start, keep it on the slow speed, then turn it up, then tilt it back, and then turn it off. All right, so I've done the store there. Look at that. Now, completely honest with you, I'm not a huge fan of that burnish pad. I recommend a little bit better ones, but I mean, again, we kind of look back at the shine again, and you look how much it's increased again because of the reflection through the window. Now, you'll see in the video some moisture issues, and you might be able to burnish some of that out, but I doubt it, you know, realistically. My favorite part of the entire floor is right here. Look at the shine on this. Let's see if I can get some of that captured. Look at that gloss. So I finished the store. I got one last little bit to do over in the training area. But you can see, as you watch through the video, you can see the difference that it makes. And again, this isn't life-changing. And again, we didn't add guard or anything to it. But you can see a pretty increased level of shine through here, up into John's office. Remember all the streaks that were there? Couldn't see that? My office. I got this half. Now I'm going to finish this half. So, I'll show you when we're done. All right, well, there it is. So as you can see through all of the polishing videos, from the low shots to the high shots, you can see that with the burnisher, it's gonna decrease the amount of haze that you might have on your floor and increase the gloss. So there's a couple things we wanna keep track of as we go. So I have my computer in front of me, and a couple things will be cost, and let's kind of break that down by a total of per square footage. So if we break it down of what should we be? All right, so let's break it down. Okay, so first off, make sure that you're doing a very thorough vacuum before you even fire up that machine. There's no dust extraction hooked up to the burnishers, so any loose dust that might be on the floor is just getting magnified, then of course moved around by the exhaust on the machine, and so it's blowing all that up into the air. So if you are in a dusty environment, try to clean up your space as much as possible before you burnish. I did notice that when I was in one space, I kicked up a little bit of stuff in the warehouse and off it went. It is what it is, but just be careful if you're in a customer's environment. And then two, so we had a total of about 3,500 square feet between the training area, the showroom, and then the lunchroom. So if we kind of break it all down, here are the numbers. And you guys, if you want this spreadsheet, or maybe just a snapshot of this, I'll try to include it in here just so you can kind of see my numbers. But here's the breakdown of everything, okay? So if we look at costs, so the machine costed me $436.21. That was for everything, okay? So that would have been the rental and the pad, okay? The pad was $22.12. So we wrapped that into the total. And then again, if you take that number and you're gonna divide it by the 3,500, that comes out to approximately 13 cents a square foot. So just the rental of the machine was approximately 13 cents on that. Now labor. Now, of course, this is going to be very subjective because everybody charges a little bit different, but let's take it from the numbers. It took me about an hour and a half to do what I did. So about an hour and a half for about 3,500 square feet. And I had to shuffle some tables around and just do some small stuff, which is kind of more realistic. So depending upon exactly how much you're going to charge is obviously dependent upon you guys. But think about what you're going to be doing. Now, are you going to go pick up the machine, go direct to the job site, and have the guy work for an hour and a half and then go back? So the labor is subjective based on your travel time to and from locations and how you guys pay. But let's just say active time on site was about an hour and a half. And then of course you're going to times that by the rate. I did it a little bit more aggressively, and I actually came out to about $225 for that hour and a half at about $150 an hour. So if you guys want to go deeper than that, whatever you're kind of paying the guys, make sure that you're charging about 3 times for that. So if you pay a guy 30 bucks an hour, you should be billing him out at about $90 an hour. So that's kind of where I came up with some of those numbers. Now, of course, that comes out to roughly about 6 cents a square foot for that. So again, those are numbers you have to play with. So my finished number here is going to be a little bit subjective. Now, propane. So based on what he told me when I picked it up, it was about a 3/4. I dropped it off at about a half a tank. And of course, the average to fill a tank is roughly about $20, $25. I figured out that I used approximately $5.50 worth of propane. And then hour and a half, again, subjective, kind of where you are and stuff. That's pennies, less than pennies. So if we look at those 4 costs, the machine, the pad, which are reusable. So if you already have one, you could reuse that. But just say we had to buy a new pad. And then we got our labor, and then we got our propane. Again, that's not taking into account fuel consumption or anything driving to and from. This is just what it was for this job on site. It comes out to 19 cents a square foot. So if I just burnished that floor, I'm at approximately 19 cents a square foot. If we round up to 20 or 25 cents a square foot, we add in some of those accessories. It's a fairly low cost system and definitely very easy to do. One person can come in and buff a large area pretty quickly and then move on. So as you can kind of see back in that video, you can increase the shine, decrease the dust, add slip resistance again just by burnishing, right? We did not add any guard or anything on top of that. So let's talk about what to charge. Well, obviously, every market's gonna be a little bit different, and then your overhead is everything subjective based on the profit margins that you guys wanna make. But let's just randomly say that we're at 25 cents a square foot all in. Now, me personally, you're always at a 50% margin, if not higher than that. I wouldn't necessarily charge 50 cents a square foot. I would charge somewhere around $1 a square foot. So if you guys roughly charge $3,500 to get this floor burnished, polished all up, you'd be making some pretty damn good money. And if we drop that down to 75 cents a square foot, you still got very good money for a short amount of time and amount that you have invested into it. And again, don't price yourself out of the option of the customer saying no, they won't do it. So kind of push it as, hey, this is what I got. I'm going to clean up what you have based on the condition that's there and the shine that is there. We started with a pretty good floor, and then we just kind of try to make it a little bit better. Now, if you're looking at something that's pretty dulled out, maybe it's got some acid stains in it, right? From ketchup, mustard, wine, pickle juice, some of those more acidic products, and you want to come back and put a guard back on it and then burnish it, right? So that's kind of like our good system. Well, here's going to be our better system. So I kind of did some quick math, and if I would have just put some guard based on that. So the guard, Endurable Products makes a great one. It's their polish protector. You can add a gallon of water to that. So basically that is, about $145, and that's going to cover 3,000 square feet. So this product goes a very long way. You should be getting about 1,000 square feet a gallon of guard. The thinner, the better for guard. So that comes out to less than 5 cents a square foot. And then of course, if you had a microfiber mop or anything like that, about 15 bucks, whatever that is. So just to put the guard on is only adding about 5 cents. So if you wanted to come in all in, where you want to add your guard and then you want to do your burnish, let's just say that we were at roughly 35 cents approximately right now, all in cost. That's a little bit high. Obviously, you're gonna have your shipping and miscellaneous stuff, but let's just randomly say that you're at 30 cents a square foot. You could be at $1.25 plus a square foot to guard and burnish that. If I was to apply guard on 3,500 square feet with one person, it would have probably taken me, I would have probably say another hour and a half. Let's just say those numbers. For pretty consistent numbers, another $225, so you can kind of build in stuff from that. So again, it's a pretty low cost option, and when you get into larger square footage, 5,000 square foot plus, this is a very, very good economical option for anywhere that's already got existing polished concrete that might not look the best. You can come back in and refurbish this and do a very similar style system without having to go through the whole process of them starting over or having to pay to go through the process again. So if you guys are ever seeing terrazzo or anything out there as well, and you want to get into refurbishing that, there's a few other steps based on the wax and some miscellaneous stuff that might be on top of it, but it's a very similar process, so we can talk about that too. So that's what I have for the burnishing video. If you guys have any questions, shoot me a text, give me a call, throw me an email. Let's break down this cost and figure out what you guys have to do to start bidding on this and start winning some of that work. Because you can see from that video, it's a very good increase of light, increase of slip resistance, and then of course cleanliness and cleanability, of course. Remember, that's on Endurable, the F1 that we were burnishing, and on just normal polish. And if you guys have any questions on the guards, how to apply them, what's your pricing, chemical wise, let me know. So really hope you guys appreciated this video. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, let me know. I got you.